Hello again, this is Marilyn from TarotClarity.com, continuing with the comparison between the LeGrande Circus and Sideshow Tarot and the Tarot of the Zirkus Magi. I'll have the names of the people who created those decks in the information below. So we're beginning with the side-by-side comparison of the Suit of Swords. I'm breaking up the suits individually so that none of the videos are that long. Given that it's a circus theme, we do get a sense that the swords are one of danger and risk. They both portray that. The Ace of Swords on the left by the LeGrande is a little more traditional with the hand with the sword or the blade. Remember, the LeGrande tarot tends to keep the names of the traditional names of the cards. Whereas the deck on the right, the Zirkus Magi, does not. In fact, they not only rename most of the cards, but and the suit names, they also put keywords on the bottom, which I'm not real fond of. I don't really like decks that put keywords on. It's like tarot with training wheels. And then, of course, you're limited to that explanation, because if your understanding of a card isn't what is said on isn't what is written on the card, and you're doing a reading for an individual who says, well, it says this, but you're saying that, so it's really kind of restrictive. But at any rate, they are both lovely cards, and I love the illustration in the Zirkus Magi nonetheless. We continue here with the Two of Swords and the Two of Blades. On the left, we have another scene of danger. The woman is sitting in an electric chair, and she's holding two metal swords, and there's electricity going between them, although she doesn't seem to be feeling any pain, or there doesn't seem to be any concern for her well-being. She's very calm, but it is a dangerous situation nonetheless. And we have the Two of Blades on the right by the Zirkus Magi. The key word is balance, and we have two clowns, I guess, doing, acrobatic tricks. One has a set of swords. Continuing with the sense that the swords are dangerous, we have the Three of Swords on the left by the LeGrande and the Three of Blades on the right by the Zirkus Magi. The Zirkus Magi gives a keyword of heartache and has a very traditional concept taken from Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, which was taken from the Solabusca tarot of the three swords piercing a heart. And you get the gist that it's a sad clown. The woman on the left, however, seems to be in defiance of the danger. She doesn't seem to be very concerned. She's doing a trick, and she probably knows how to do it very well. So it has a different feel than a traditional Three of Swords. The Four of Blades and the Four of Swords are here. The one on the left, the LeGrande, is depicting a Swami. I don't know if that's the correct word, but an Indian fellow who is demonstrating his skill on sleeping on the swords with a heavy weight on him, an anvil. And he's at peace and repose. He's not bothered at all by it. And then the Four of Blades, they take us to, it looks like a elephant cemetery. The key word here is showman's rest. A very tranquil setting. Notice there's a leg coming out of something. That's kind of strange. Here we have the Five of Swords on the left. It appears as though we have a tattooed man who has all the swords, and there are two people that he probably defeated in some feat. And on the right, we have the keyword opposition. So these are two opponents in the Five of Blades from the Zirkus Magi who are probably about to undertake some type of competitive thing, if they haven't already done so. They both look pretty smug, so I don't think either of them has yet won. There doesn't appear to be a clear victor here. And with the Six of Swords, we have a somewhat traditional scene of somebody going someplace. On the left, we have a pair in a wagon being pushed by yet another individual who is taking them someplace else. You know, they're leaving the curtains of the tent. And the Six of Blades, the key word is passage, and it would give one the impression that the circus is leaving one town and going to another. So they're relocating, they're changing. So both decks do show a sense of, you know, changing a location, you know, for whatever reasons. Here we have the Seven of Swords with the Seven of Blades next to it. Now, I haven't mentioned this yet, but you've probably noticed how the Circus, LeGrande's Circus and Sideshow Tarot does not have any words on the cards themselves. They just have the symbol and the number on the top, which is, I don't know, I kind of like that a lot. They have the number and they clearly have the suit, so it's not a mystery. Whereas, as I mentioned before, the Zirkus Magi changes the name of the card, changes the name of the suit, as well as putting keywords on the bottom. So it may or may not be a distraction for you. It's not my preference, however, but it doesn't take away from the beauty of the artwork on the cards. Now, both of these sevens, the one on the left, you know, shows that somebody's juggling. Maybe he's bit off more than he could chew. There are two that are down. Maybe he dropped two already, and I guess he's trying his best not to get stabbed or hurt, so it continues to be a dangerous thing. And the risk is getting higher as the number gets higher. So that makes sense. In the Seven of Blades, or Audacity, it appears as though somebody lopped somebody's head off. You know, I'm not exactly sure what's being communicated here. I'll be honest. I guess just that it's an audacious pair. Somebody did something to somebody. And with the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Blades, I think it's fascinating that they both chose the same theme for the Eight of the Eight of Swords. The girl typically the young lady who is on a turning wheel sometimes. Sometimes she's just standing, you know, still. And she's blindfolded and someone's throwing daggers at her. She can leave at any time. She doesn't have to do this, but it's her shtick, you know, so she does it. And again, with the number of 8 and, you know, the increase, we're seeing an increase in the risk in the sword suit as the numbers get higher. With the Nine of Swords on the left and the Nine of Blades on the right, we get a sense that something is maybe causing some grief. The woman on the left appears as though maybe she has fallen. She was doing a trick with the 9 blades and she fell. Maybe she's humiliated. There is a spotlight on her, but you could see by the extreme shadow. And, you know, at any rate, you can tell she's not happy. Maybe she's not hurt physically, but she's hurt, you know, psychologically or emotionally. And the 9 of Blades, the key word is angst, where they've got quite a trick going on. This fellow is in a yoga pose, apparently, on a bed of what looks like nails, and he's balancing the pianist, who's playing the piano. So it's a difficult trick, I'll say that. So they both indicate that they're different. One indicates some kind of sorrow or embarrassment or, you know, some type of hurt. And the other is just showing that it's, you know, a very high degree of danger or skill or aggravation in order to pull off this trick. And now we come to the end of the numbered cards in this suit. The 10 swords, maybe the evening is done. On the left, we see the swords all in a basket. So maybe the tricks are over for the evening. It's finished, you know, tomorrow is another circus day. Whereas the 10 on the Zirkus Magi on the right side shows, the keywords shows ruin and a person who is over the top damaged by the treachery of blades. So they both have an interesting take. Okay, here we have the Page of Swords on the left by the LeGrande, Circus, and Sideshow, and the Blade bill poster on the right side by Zirkus Magi. You'll notice that, even the names on the court cards are different in the Zirkus Magi. The bill posters are the pages. On the left, we have a woman who is fearless. It's a female page, and she's going to do a trick that none of us would try. So there's the description of this woman would be a risk taker, right? And the Blade bill poster, bill posters would be the people who would put up the sign saying that the circus is coming to town. So his message probably is more of a message. He's the deliverer of news. So these two pages have different connotations if you look at the artwork and interpret them solely based on the artwork. Now, the Knight of Swords is very interesting. In the Zirkus Magi, it's a female rider, and she's gallantly flying over the circus, sword in hand. The Knight of Swords from the LeGrande tarot kind of looks like the fella who might be throwing the knives and blades at the girl who was in the Eight of Swords. If you notice, he's holding the sword or the blade with his fingertips, and he's got a high shadow contrast behind him, so the spotlight is certainly on him, and he's got to act with great skill and dexterity. And anyone involved with him must have high level of confidence, because he's a person who has the potential to cause great damage. I don't get that sense from the Blade Rider in the Zirkus Magi. So again, we have two very different representations of characters. Well, here we have a pretty interesting side-by-side comparison as to how each of these artists depict the Queen of Swords or the Duchess of Blades. The Queen of Swords on the left has a beard. So not only is she the Queen of Swords, but she's a bearded lady. It might suggest that she is not attractive. Sometimes the Queen of Swords, aside from her acknowledged intelligence and quick wit, sometimes she's described as a lone woman, a loner, a widow, a single woman, a career woman, and that might be the gist of why this particular queen has a beard and mustache. And the Duchess of Blades, if you look at her on the right side, she appears to be cut in half, she's a torso. So, she's the queen, who doesn't have her bottom half, which is kind of interesting, though she does have wings. So she has, overcome the disability of transportation, I guess. Maybe she can fly. And she holds her sword with confidence. And here we finish the suit with the King of Swords, or the Governor of Blades, of each deck. On the left, the King of Swords is the authority, or the guy in charge of the sword department at the circus. He's a great showman. I don't see him as particularly threatening, so he's been able to, he has a high level of expertise, I'm sure. Although he better be careful or he's going to trip over his wire. He's using the sword tip as a microphone, it appears. And the Governor of Blades has lost his head. He's got a couple butterflies. You don't know if that's Aleister Crowley's face or not, but it could be. It's somebody. I don't recognize who it is. And, I'm not exactly sure what the take is on the Governor of Blades on the Zirkus Magi. However, I do know that when I see it in a spread, I often understand it. I get the gist by the other cards that's around it. So sometimes cards in and of themselves, maybe you're not exactly sure what to make of it, but when you put them in a spread and they're surrounded by other cards, it kind of becomes clear at that point. So this is the end of the Suit of Swords, and it's about 15 minutes also. And I'm going to continue breaking up the deck, in this way so that none of the videos are too long. Thank you for watching. I hope my skill as a video maker has improved a little bit since the first one I did. I may do that one over, but for now it's going to stay. Again, if you're interested in following me on Instagram, I'm at the Tarot Reader, and I also have my own website, my tarot website, tarotclarity.com, where I do readings for the public, of course, and also maintain a tarot blog. And I do have a presence on Twitter, but I'm not as active on Twitter as I am on Instagram. I'm on Instagram every day. Bye. Until next time.